Hello everyone. Let's get started with our part 2 from Unit 2 State Government, Lesson number 2 Role of Government in Health. So, in the last session, we discussed about what is health, what is the definition given by WHO, and we also discussed about the healthcare situations in India, where we discussed about two of the columns which said the positive factors and the negative factors of the medical services in India or the healthcare in India. And I had asked you to think about some interesting topics. I hope you have noted it down. So let's begin with today's topic. Yes, and it says. So now we know that in order to prevent and treat illness or diseases, we need to have certain good healthcare facilities. So which are as follows. We need proper health centers. We need proper hospitals, laboratories for taking up certain different tests, for example, blood tests, your x-rays, your sonography, and many other things. Even research laboratories we could include here. We also need proper ambulance services to provide a quick service in emergencies. And yes, the most important one is the blood banks. So these are all the different healthcare facilities which we need in order to prevent and also to treat certain kind of illnesses and diseases. And if we want these facilities to run smoothly, what do we need? So we need the health workers, the nurses, and most importantly, the qualified doctors. So without these people, the facilities are zero because these are the people who are trained to use all these different facilities in a proper way. And hence, the health workers, nurses, and the qualified doctors are very important for our healthcare. They are the base of the healthcare situations and facilities in any country. So let's hear a story. We all like to listen stories, right? Yes. So now here we have a story about Hakim Sheikh. And Hakim Sheikh is a labor and he is associated with PBKMS, which says Paschim Banga Khet Mazdoor Samiti. So from this we could make out that this particular samiti or this organization or association helps the agricultural laborers in many different ways. We know in many of the factories and companies there are different unions, different associations who work for the workers' benefit or welfare of the workers. So similarly, PBKMS was one of the association who would help the agricultural laborers, specifically the landless agricultural laborers. So Hakim Sheikh, he was one of the landless agricultural labor and he was a member of PBKMS. So they would support him in difficult times. So once what happened, somewhat around year 1992, when he was having a train journey, he suddenly fell off the running train and had a severe head injury. Now, yes, we don't know the actual reason how he fell off the running train, but we could just try to guess that maybe there was a lot of rush, a lot of crowd in the train, and by chance someone must have pushed him and he fell off the running train. Or it could be vice versa. He was standing in the doors of the train and by chance something happened and he slipped off his hand and he fell down. So whatever may be the reason, we would just see what happened when he had a head injury. Now, when he had a head injury, people took him to a government hospital in Kolkata. So now the hospital denied him the admission. It's so bad on a person's side that when he needs an emergency medical aid, the hospital is denying admission. The hospital gives certain reasons that there are no spare beds. All the beds in the hospital are full, and that is the reason we cannot accommodate you. And it so happened that they tried in 7 to 8 different hospitals, and it was almost 14 hours they were traveling with the head injury. and no hospital took him, no one admitted him in their hospitals. There were n number of reasons given. Maybe there are no specialized doctors, or maybe these are not the OPD hours, there are no spare beds, and n number of reasons given to him. So finally, after almost 14 hours and 7 to 8 hospitals, this particular person was admitted to a private hospital. Now, when he was admitted in a private hospital, he had to spend a lot of money. Okay, so why he was preferring to go to the government hospitals? Because maybe the government hospital will give treatment at a less cost, or maybe it would be free of cost. And then if he goes to the government hospital, even they have certain chains or certain attachment with PBKMS, so that the total bill may be reduced because he was a landless labor, and so many reasons. So he was trying to go to the government hospitals, but because they did not admit him, he went to a private hospital. And yes, when we all know that when we go to a private hospital, n number of tests are to be performed, n number of paperwork, different kinds of specialized doctors available there, and so we have to spend a lot of money. And yes, they provide a good service. It's a luxurious posh hospital generally when we see about a private hospitals, hygienic, clean, and so he also spent a lot of money. But it was so, whatever savings he had, whatever whoever relatives could help him, all have helped him to spend and to pay the money for the private hospital. So next what happens? After he is fined, once he returns back, he files a case against all those hospitals which denied him admission for XYZ reasons. And then, can we think, like, was the only reason that they denied him admission he files a case? No. So it was he files a case because he had spent a lot of money. Whatever savings he had already used it for his treatment. Maybe he has also borrowed some money from other people. And so he files a case, and it is, we can also say that it was a 14 hours long journey from this hospital to that hospital. And maybe by his bad luck, if some mishap would have taken place, who would take up the responsibility? Were the government hospitals going to say that yes, this happened because of us? We did not get him admitted in our hospitals. No, no one is going to take the responsibility. And then what about his family, who are actually dependent on his earnings? And so he files a case, and he must have also thought that if I take the initiative, the other people who suffer, their sufferings may be lessened, or they would stop, they would get different facilities. Now, can you tell me, if you were the judge in the court, what would you say to Hakim Sheikh? You have to think, if you were a judge, what decision would you take? But then in this story, what happens is, towards the end, when they file a case and all the things are being shown in the court, or maybe the papers are submitted, whatever statements the people around him give, on that basis, Hakim Sheikh wins that case, and he gets all the money that he had spent for his treatment from the government. And why does he get the money back? Because the government hospitals denied him for unnecessary reasons. Right? I hope you have understood the story very well. So now, after we have completed with our session, I want you to read that particular story which is given in your textbook on page number 21. So you can understand it very well. If still you have any questions, any doubts, you can always feel free to ask me. So till then, bye, take care of yourself, and be healthy.